بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبع هداه. Welcome back, brothers. We were supposed to start level 4. We were supposed to take a short break, but it ended up being a very long break. But alhamdulillah, we definitely, after taking a break, need a review. Do you agree? Yes. Let's make it like a short, at least a short review, and we'll read inshallah from Surah Hud. I'm sure we didn't read Surah Hud last time. The last time I think we read Surah Al-Mursalat. We read about 3 ayat from Surah Al-Mursalat. There is a good portion of Surah Hud that's relevant to the rules of Ra that inshallah we'll read today. So let's do like a brief review of the rules of Ra. What did we say? What's the common mistake when we talk about the rules of Ra? What is the common mistake in general, if you remember? Anybody?
Whether to make it strong or soft?
Yeah, but we want more specific, right? I mean, if you say a person doesn't know if he should make it soft or strong, so he has the problem with all the Ra's. But is that the common mistake?
Make it stronger.
He would make it strong? Like all the time? Is that the common mistake? You wanted to say something about it?
Like where it should be soft, the person normally makes it stronger.
That's what I wanted to hear. Where it was supposed to be soft, the person would make it strong. Right? Maybe this is what you meant, but he put it in more clear words. So where the Ra is supposed to be soft, the person would make it strong. Right? And most of the time, this happens when the Ra that have a sukun is preceded by Hamzat al-Wasl. Like we mentioned the word irtabu and the word irtada, those two words. Right? You hear people say irtabu with a soft Ra and irtada. Right? So here it's supposed to be strong Ra. Why was it supposed to be a strong Ra here? You remember the rule? We were talking about it in the lobby just now with a few people. It is strong because it is a Ra sakinah preceded by a non-original sukun. A non-original sukun, that's the reason. Alright, in general, what did we say about the rules of Ra? When is it strong and when is it soft? We said in summary, like if you don't remember the details, or you don't want to remember the details, or the details are too complicated for you, for whatever reason, you need to remember like the simple, you have to have a simple trick to remember it. We said anything above the Ra, anything above is usually strong, right? Above is strong, and below is soft. This is something important that you need to remember. Above is strong, below is soft. What does above mean? It means that if the Ra has a fatha comes on top, or a dhamma comes on top, or it has a double fatha, or a double dhamma, it's the same thing. Or if it has a sukun preceded by a fatha, or it has a sukun preceded by a dhamma. We're still talking about fatha or dhamma, so it's on top. So it is strong. And in general, if it has a sukun and preceded by sukun, preceded by a dhamma or fatha, it's also strong, in general. And on the other hand, if it has a kasra, so kasra is on the bottom, then it's soft. Or if it has a sukun preceded by kasra, or it has a sukun preceded by kasra, preceded by another sukun preceded by kasra. In general, soft. Right? This is the general rule. And I believe, and it helped me when I was learning this, to basically get a handle on the rules of Ra. So if you remember this, you would cover, as we said, 95% of the Ra's in the Quran. The rest, if you make a mistake in 2-3 words, you'll be still one of the top reciters, right? So the small cases, the exceptions, are very few. We talked about when the Ra has a sukoon preceded by, which is number 5 on the list, and I remember that I still have to send you this, the chart that we talked about. I had it on the screen last time when we did this. The reason I didn't send it is because there was a few things that we talked about, if you remember, and I will talk about them now, inshallah, that I wanted to add those modifications, and I was listening to the video that what we did last time to put the time on the update, the date and the time, right? That was your suggestion. You don't remember? All right. Because Brother Hanif suggested something, and after him, Brother Muhammad suggested something, so we'll put the timestamp on it. Let me mention this exception that we spoke about, or the few exceptions that we spoke about last time. Number 4, which is when the Ra has a sukoon, and before it a non-original kasra. So we have a sukoon, and here before the Ra we have a non-original kasra. Brother Hanif suggested that whenever this happens in the Quran, we will have Hamzatul Wasl here before the Ra. We will have Hamzatul Wasl. If you see Hamzatul Wasl before the Ra Sakina, you will automatically make this strong. How does it help a person knowing this trick? It helps when you don't know or you don't differentiate between an original kasra and a non-original kasra. That means if you don't know if this kasra is original or not, then you won't know what to do with this Ra. Is it going to be soft or strong? So knowing this trick, the trick is that if you see Hamzatul Wasl before this Ra Sakina, then you're going to make it strong automatically. And the reason we are mentioning this is that this defies the rule, right? It defies the original rule, that the simple rule that we spoke about. This was supposed to be soft because we have a sukoon on the Ra and before it kasra, right? But in this case, because we have a non-original kasra, and in the Quran this is represented by Hamzatul Wasl, then we're going to make it strong. The example for that is the word irtabu and the word irtada. Those are the two examples that are written in that chart. So knowing this, or for a beginner to know this, it helps. So whenever you see Hamzatul Wasl before the Ra Sakina, make it strong. And they are not, as I said, there are not too many words like this in the Quran. The other exception that we spoke about is number 5, which is when the Ra Sakina is preceded by a kasra and followed by harf isti'la, one of the letters of isti'la with no kasra. And we said there's only 5 words in the whole Quran. There's only 5 words: firqatin, qirtas, labil mirsad, mirsad, and irsad. Those are the 5 words. So in these 5 words, we have the example that I wrote is the example of a sad. We shouldn't have a kasra here in this harf al-isti'la, one of the strongest letters in the Quran. and the ra here has a sukoon. And we said here we have a kasra. So what Brother Hanif noted, that we don't need to mention this kasra. We don't need to mention this kasra. Why? Can anybody tell us why?
Because if it was a fatha, it would be strong anyway.
Yes. And if it was a dhamma, it would be strong as well. So whether we mention this or not, it doesn't make any difference. Usually we mention something because otherwise it would have the opposite effect. But in this case, it doesn't make any difference whether we have a fatha or a kasra or a dhamma. It's going to be strong anyways. Do you agree? But here, to mention that we shouldn't have a kasra here, it will make a difference. Right? It will make a difference.
So are you saying
Do you agree?
The letter after the letter of istara will make the difference if it doesn't have kasra.
If it doesn't have a kasra, yeah.
Regardless what comes before that.
Yeah.
Before the ra.
Because what does the kasra do? What does it do? Say again?
Make it soft.
No, what does it do to this letter? It
It reduces the heaviness or the strongness of sound.
yes, it reduces the heaviness of the letter. It basically weakens it. It weakens the harful isti'ala. This harful isti'ala is supposed to be strong, a strong letter, right? These are strong letters. The kasra weakens them. It doesn't mean that they become soft letters. No, they become less strong. The ra here became strong even when a kasra is before it, really because of the strength of the sad, of the harful isti'ala, whether it is sad or another letter. So if this letter is not strong enough now, then it will not have the same effect on the ra. That's why we have to mention this. So we have to mention that the ra has to have sukoon, and harful isti'ala shouldn't have a kasra. But we said we don't need to mention this because whether we have a kasra, fatha or a dhamma, it doesn't make a difference as long as we have these two conditions. Yes, Brother Mustafa.
But it'll make a difference if there's a fatha or a dhamma before it, even if the sad has a kasra. Like Mara said, the ra is still mufakham.
Well,
So we do need to mention both conditions.
you think we have to mention it? Do you agree with him, Brother Hanif?
It's already mentioned in the previous rule that if we have a fatha before ra, then ra is always strong. So it's covered in that rule.
Right, but the
Yes.
That's true. That's true because it is covered by another rule. Now, if we have a ra with sukoon before it, fatha or a dhamma, in reality we don't have to look at what is after it. The exception that we spoke about last time is number 8, which is when the ra. This is the case where the ra is soft. Brother Muhammad mentioned this. When the ra has a sukoon preceded by sukoon, preceded by a kasra. So we have a ra with a sukoon, preceded here by sukoon, and preceded by kasra. So here it is soft, but in the note I put that this letter shouldn't be a ya, right? And Brother Muhammad suggested that there's no difference if it is a ya or not, because if it is a ya, then it still be soft. It will still be soft. So there's no need to. This is basically simplifying the note. So I put here ra sakina preceded by sukoon, and I put between brackets not a ya, preceded by a kasra, like the word al-dhikr. Al-dhikr. So whether we have a ya here or not, it will still be soft, because the number 9 is the case where the ra has a sukoon preceded by a ya, and when the ra has a sukoon and there's a ya before it, we don't need to look at the letter before that. So this is just simplifying this example here. Is it clear? Does it make sense? Brother Hanif? All right.
So why did they say? Why did the book say harf ya? Why did they split it into ya?
Well, I was actually comparing what different books say about these things, and you find that there is differences. There is differences, but whenever we are able to simplify it, it's easier. Right? It's easier to remember. I mean, what's the point of putting all these details if we are not going to remember them? So if there's a way of simplifying them, then it's better. So before I made changes to this table here, like I wanted to make sure, like, and I still want to make sure that that it still applies to all cases. Right? You don't want to change something, then you find that there is a loophole. All right. The example that we were talking about in the lobby. This is an ayah that we mentioned in the last session. In Surah Al-Isra. Surah Al-Isra, ayah number 24, where it says, وَقُلْ رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا. وَقُلْ رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا. It is written like this. And this is Hamzatul Wasl. So this is Hamzat. This is a Ra Sakina. And before it is Hamzat al-Wasl. And here we said that Hamzat al-Wasl is considered like a non-original kasra. Right? But if I continue reading from the word Rabbi here, then Hamzat al-Wasl will be dropped altogether. Because if I start from this word, then it's clear. Right? If I start from the word Rabbi, then Hamzat al-Wasl is dropped, because Hamzat al-Wasl is only needed if you are starting from this word, because this word has a sukoon, and we don't start with the sukoon, so we use Hamzat al-Wasl to be able to start. So the brother's question was, is this an original sukoon, an original kasra, or not? And I remember what I said is that that I don't have a doubt in my mind that this is a strong ra. وَقُلْ رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا. It is stronger. I didn't have doubt. But how to explain this kasra? Well, today we were discussing it, and we went back to the i'rab of this word, and it turned out that it is not an original kasra. You wanted to say something?
No, I just wanted to confirm. So, without this exception or this example here of this ayah, when we have Hamzat wasl, it's supposed to be strong or soft?
It's still the rule that we said earlier here, that Brother Hanif suggested, it still applies here.
So,
I mean, it didn't defy it, because we have Hamzat al-Wasl. No.
So this is a special case, but
it didn't.
apply the same rule.
Yeah, it didn't defy it. It didn't defy it, even though it was dropped. The Hamzat al-Wasl was dropped, but it didn't defy the rules that we just said. So whenever you see Hamzat al-Wasl, it is safe to make it strong. Still. Yes, brother.
Just to add to the example, that there are some cases where like we use the words when there's like some letters are already like dropped. For example, قل يا أهل الكتاب تعالوا إلى كلمة سواء بيننا وبينكم. أصل الكلمة تعالوا. أصل الكلمة، ولكن العرب لا يقولون تعالوا بسبب الثقل على اللسان. فit's dropped originally.
جزاك الله خير.
So this is just like an example.
جزاك الله خير. I'm pretty sure there are many examples where the word that Brother Ahmed gave just now, تعالوا, and it became تعالوا, And there are many other examples where letters are dropped from the word, and the word continued to be used without those letters. There are many other examples.
This
Yes.
is not to say that they've been dropped recently. This is right from the start.
Yeah, dropped like a long time ago. Yeah. They are not
When
going.
created, they were dropped.
Yeah, they are not going to come back. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, but this is different than Anna. Anna, the way you say it, it differs from ayah to ayah, but the rest, it's the same. You don't drop the alif in Anna. So here it's different. So the year was really
the ya is not written. Similarly, in other words, the letters that have been dropped are not going to be written. But what is important to us here, and what is important also for a person who is teaching this to somebody else, is to find a way to simplify it. Especially if you are teaching a beginner, you have to find a simple way to teach him this. For him to apply this while reading, it's a challenge because there's no time to think. There's not a lot of time to think, right? So you have to find like an easy way to do it. And then once the person gets to like a more advanced level, you can like read more about it and read the details and stuff. All right? Any questions about this, the rules of the law?
We need the table.
Yeah, the table, inshallah, will be emailed to you, inshallah, with hopefully with the updates. There was a word that I was going to write for you here. I think I wrote similar words in the past, where in the Quran you will find that initially, obviously, as you all know, the Quran didn't have any dots or harakat, the fatha and the kasra. The fatha and kasra and dhamma, those harakat, today in the newspapers, they don't use them, right? They very rarely use these harakat, but they do use the dots. And I don't know many people who will be able to read a newspaper without the dots. It's very challenging. So, I mean, at the time of when the Quran was being revealed, they used to write without a dot and without the harakat, right? So when you see a word like this, what could it be? A word like this. What could it be? Give me some options. Riba. All right. Riba. What else? Could it be something else? Riya. What else?
Rana.
Rana. Is it in the Quran, Rana?
We're talking about the Quran?
Preferably.
Zina.
Jazakallah khair. You see, 3 words from the Quran: zina, riba, and riya. Say again?
So it is Rana ala qulubihim. It's Rana.
Rana, yeah. What is in common between these 3 words is that they share the same letter without a dot, right? They also share something else, is that these are very bad things, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So this was actually something that I thought was very interesting, is that the same evil acts, they share the same skeleton, basically, right? Without the dot.
Yes.
So if you are reading a Quran without the dots and you see this, right, you will know that it's one of those 3 evil acts. Right? Yeah. I guess with the context, you may be able to figure out which one it is. Yeah. Which one is most evil from these 3? Riba? Zina is evil? More evil? Riba is more evil. Yeah, I believe that the riba is more Why is it more evil than the other ones? Yes. Yeah, that, and also because it's a system. Like our Shaykh said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised punishment or gave a warning more severe than anything else. He didn't say this about the zina, and he didn't say this about any other thing, but he said it about the riba, because he said the riba is a system, right? It's not just one person going doing something evil and coming back. It's much more than that, right? All right. Any questions before we start reciting from Surah Hud? All right. Why don't we? Did anybody know what the homework was today? All right. So let's do like we did once. Recite it. Only the person who is reciting will open the book. Right? Only the person who is reciting will open the book. And if you recited already, then you can keep it open to see how we did or how we do with something that we are not familiar with. All right. So who wants to read first? Who wants to volunteer and read first? Alphabetical? Yeah. All right. All right. All right. Open ayah number 96, Surah Hud. And the rest don't open.
$96?
96, yes.
And total ayah?
99. 96 to 99.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولقد أرسلنا موسى بآياتنا وسلطان مبين إلى فرعون وملئه فاتبعوا أمر فرعون وما أمر فرعون برشيد يقدم قومه يوم القيامة فأوردهم النار وبئس الورد المورود وأتبعوا في هذه لعنة ويوم القيامة بئس الرفد المرفود.
What do you think of this ayah in terms of Ra?
It's challenging.
It is challenging a little bit.
I didn't expect.
Yeah. It's a nice one. All right, Brother Ahmed. Or you want to read? You want to read last?
I'll wait a couple guys.
All right. Who wants to go next? Brother Bassam?
ولقد أرسلنا موسى بآياتنا وسلطان مبين.
The word أرسلنا, make sure you pronounce the lam properly. أرسلنا, and the word sultan, the sin is soft. Say it again.
Okay. ولقد أرسلنا موسى.
You are saying أرسلنا. Can you hear it, brothers? Did you hear him?
You want me to stop on it a little bit? Or?
You don't have to stop. Why would you stop?
Or
It's like a highway. Don't stop on the highway. That's good. أرسلنا. أرسلنا.
ولقد أرسلنا موسى.
It's better.
بآياتنا وسلطان.
وسل. The scene a little bit softer. Yeah.
وسلطان مبين إلى فرعون وملئه فاتبعوا أمر فرعون.
The ra in Fir'aun, is it soft or strong?
Soft.
Why?
Because the fa before it has a kasra on it.
Do you agree with him? You don't agree? Why?
Because it has a sukoon and then preceded by fata with a kasra.
Yeah, because it has a sukoon first. Because it has a sukoon and before it a kasra. But did he say it's soft? It's not soft, it's not strong. In limbo. Fir. Yeah. Fir'aun.
فاتبعوا أمر فرعون وما أمر فرعون برشيد يقدم قومه يوم القيامة فأوردهم النار وبئس الورد المورود.
وبئس. Repeat from وبئس. وبئس. Repeat.
وبئس الورد المورود. الورد.
We're, of course, it's because it's soft, so we have to make sure.
وبئس الورد المورود.
Weird.
الورد.
Like softer. It is like soft, but make it a little bit softer.
وبئس الورد المورود.
Weird.
الورد.
Weird.
وبئس الورد المورود. واتبعوا في هذه وأتبعوا في هذه لعنة ويوم القيامة بئس الرفد المرفود.
Repeat again. وأتبعوا
في هذه لعنة ويوم القيامة بئس الرفد المرفود.
جزاك الله خير. Better. Brother Hanif.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولقد أرسلنا موسى بآياتنا وسلطان مبين إلى فرعون وملئه فاتبعوا أمر فرعون وما أمر فرعون برشيد يقدم قومه يوم القيامة فأوردهم النار وبئس البر المورود. وأتبعوا في هذه لعنة ويوم القيامة بئس الرفد المرفود.
جزاك الله خير Brother Hanif. Brother Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ولقد أرسلنا موسى بآياتنا وسلطان مبين إلى فرعون وملئه فاتبعوا أمر فرعون وما أمر فرعون برشيد يقدم قومه يوم القيامة فأوردهم النار
فأوردهم النار
وبئس الورد المورود. وأتبعوا في هذه لعنة ويوم القيامة بئس الرفد المرفود.
جزاك الله خير Brother Muhammad. Are you ready Brother Muhammad?
Yes.
All right.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ولقد أرسلنا موسى بآياتنا وسلطان مبين إلى فرعون وملئه فاتبعوا أمر فرعون وما أمر فرعون برشيد يقدم قومه يوم القيامة فأوردهم النار فبئس وبئس الورد المردود.
Say again.
وبئس الورد المورود. واتبعوا
وأتبعوا
في هذه اللعنة.
في هذه لعنة.
وأتبعوا في هذه اللعنة.
في هذه لعنة.
في هذه لعنة. في هذه لعنة ويوم لعنة ويوم القيامة بئس الفرد المرفود.
Say again.
بئس الفرد.
الرفد.
بئس الرفد.
بئس الرفد.
بئس الرفد مرفود.
Say again.
بئس الفرد مرفود.
بئس الرفد.
بئس الرفد مرفود.
Alright, say it again.
بئس الفرد.
You missed it again.
بئس الفرد.
الرفد. الرفد.
بئس الرفد مرفود.
Say it like join it. Join it.
بئس الرفد المرفود.
One last time.
بئس الرفد مرفود.
Alright, work on it inshallah. جزاك الله خير. Brother Mustafa.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ولقد أرسلنا موسى بآياتنا وسلطان مبين إلى فرعون وملئه فاتبعوا أمر فرعون وما أمر فرعون برشيد يقدم قومه يوم القيامة فأوردهم النار وبئس الورد المورود وأتبعوا في هذه لعنة ويوم القيامة بئس الرفد المرفود.
جزاك الله خير. Brother Yahya.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولقد أرسلنا موسى بآياتنا وسلطان مبين إلى فرعون وملئه فاتبعوا أمر فرعون وما أمر فرعون برشيد يقدم قومه يوم القيامة فأوردهم النار وبئس الورد المورود. وأتبعوا في هذه لعنة ويوم القيامة بئس الرفد المرفود.
بئس الرفد. Or do we pronounce the lam in al-rifdu or not?
No.
Why not?
Because the letter after it has a shadda on it.
What is after it?
Salah.
It's Allah has a shad. Do you agree with him? Or you don't know what he's talking about? He said because the ra has a shadda, so it's shamsiya, so we don't pronounce the lam, or something like that.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So we don't pronounce the ra. Is the ra soft or strong in the al-rifdu?
Soft.
Why?
Because it has a kisra.
What about before it?
It has a sukun.
So what do we do?
We go before it?
Okay. How far can we go? Okay, the ra, if the ra has a kasra, then we don't look at what is before it. Yeah, that was a trick. So if the ra has a kasra, we don't look at what is before it. Jazakallah khair. All right, Abu Yahya.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد أرسلنا موسى بآياتنا وسلطان مبين إلى فرعون وملئه فاتبعوا أمر فرعون وما أمر فرعون برشيد يقدم قومه يوم القيامة فأوردهم النار وبئس الورد المورود وأتبعوا في
The word al-wird, is it the ra is soft or strong? وبئس الورد.
has to be soft
Why?
because it has sukun and the letter before it has a kasra.
All right, do you agree with him? Say again, brother. Incomplete, brother Hanif is saying. Is he helping you? Brother Yahya, you want to help him? He cannot help you?
No.
All right. Brother Hanif, you want to tell him the answer?
For example, the smart one of the fatwa is
Isti'la. Yeah, so the ra has sukoon before it kasra, and there is no word if isti'la after it at all, so we don't have to mention. Because if there was a half isti'la after it, then it could make a difference. It could make a difference. So because there is no half isti'la after it, then it is soft, and you didn't make it soft. Okay, try to make it soft. وَبِئْسَ الْوِرْدُ.
وبئس الورد المورود
أحسن.
وأتبعوا في هذه لعنة ويوم القيامة بئس الرفد المرفود.
All right, جزاك الله خير. Brother Slim.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد أرسلنا موسى بآياتنا وسلطان مبين إلى فرعون وملئه فاتبعوا أمر فرعون وما أمر فرعون برشيد يقدم قومه يوم القيامة فأوردهم النار وبئس الورد المورود وأتبعوا في هذه لعنة ويوم القيامة بئس الرفد المرفود.
The word al-rifdu, like we said to Abu Yahya, was not soft enough. The ra of al-rifdu. بئس الرفد. الرفد. Jazakallah khair. Brother Faraz, you want to read? All right. Ayah 96.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد أرسلنا موسى بآياتنا وسلطان مبين إلى فرعون
وملئه
إلى فرعون وملئه فاتبعوا أمر فرعون وما أمر فرعون برشيد يقدم قومه يوم القيامة فأوردهم النار وبئس الورد المورود وأتبعوا في هذه لعنة ويوم القيامة بئس الرفد المرفود.
Jazakallah khair. I will eventually have to listen to you more so that I can pinpoint some issues, inshallah. All right, let me recite it and then we'll hopefully conclude. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولقد أرسلنا موسى بآياتنا وسلطان مبين إلى فرعون وملئه فاتبعوا أمر فرعون وما أمر فرعون برشيد يقدم قومه يوم القيامة فأوردهم النار وبئس الورد المورود وأتبعوا في هذه لعنة ويوم القيامة بئس الرفد المرفود. All right. Next week, inshallah. What did you think about this in terms of Ra, as I asked Brother Ahmed? It's kind of a little bit challenging. It's very rare to, it's very hard to find this amount of Ra in short ayat that have like both soft and strong at the same time. So it's a good little challenge. So next week we can, if you want to read from Surah Al-Qamar, which was supposed to be a good exercise for this Ras. I know we read a little bit from the beginning, and we didn't. Obviously, we didn't read the whole thing. So if you want, we can. You can review it and read it a little bit, and we'll try to read it here. And we'll see what we can do, if we should start the first lesson of level 4, or if we should do a review, right? Maybe concentrate more on reciting, make sure we have mastered all the rules that we took so far, right? What did we, the question that I wanted to ask before we conclude, what did we benefit during Ramadan? Anybody benefited something in terms of Quran, like Tajweed in particular, during Ramadan? Anything specific? Or just there was no real like benefit in terms of Tajweed? Yes, Brother Mustafa.
I think you're a little bit more focused on remembering the rules.
While the reciter is reciting. Yeah.
Praying Taraweeh, how about Taraweeh?
Yeah, Ramadan usually it's
recitation of the Quran.
yeah, whatever, whether it is Taraweeh in the masjid or whatever benefit you manage to get during Ramadan.
No, we started finding mistakes with people not in Ramadan.
That's true. I think I heard this from other people as well. We are starting to find people. We are starting to find mistakes in other people's recitation. And I remember one day there was this reciter coming from overseas. Of course, I'm not going to mention the country or the place that he came into, or the masjid that he came to. And he came, I believe it was, I'm not sure if it was during Ramadan or outside Ramadan, but he was just reciting in front of people. He was not like leading or anything. And most people were impressed. Most people were impressed, and even they asked for like his recording and stuff. And I didn't find him very impressive. And there was another brother who came to him at the end, and he seemed to like, I don't remember the brother, but he came to him and he told him, you need to go back and learn Tajweed. And he got so mad. The reciter got so mad. He said, teach me then. If you know so much, teach me. So people usually are impressed because they may not know the Tajweed, right? So if a person is easily impressed by anyone and everyone, it means most likely he doesn't know Tajweed. If he knew Tajweed, then he's not going to be impressed easily, right? So, of course, finding mistakes, sometimes when you're listening to somebody, mistakes will come to you, right? It's like red flags. But it doesn't mean that we have to go to the person and correct them, right?
Some people, the point is that their voice is very, very good, mashallah, and nice and soft and everything, but the tajweed just...
That's true. That's true. That's true. I mean, it is true that some people have nice voices. Usually, when a person has a nice voice, we tell them like learn tajweed or memorize the Quran, of course, with tajweed, so that you're going to be like useful, right, or adhan or whatever. But people are sometimes impressed because of the voice. So the voice is nice, but the tajweed is like right? It's very, very hard to listen to a person if you know tajweed, even if he has a nice voice. Yes, Brother Slim?
Yeah, just a point here to make balance, which really happened to me when I learned tajweed, is whenever you are praying behind the imam, you will mostly focus on tajweed rather than on the meaning of the Quran. So maybe it's a good idea to keep the balance also. Mistakes, as you said, there will be mistakes. But to keep the balance between understanding the meanings and mastering tajweed, this would be good. So this happened to me.
It is
because most of the time you will focus on how the Quran is read.
It is true. I totally agree. I mean,
so maybe that will lose the focus of the salah.
Yeah, we are not talking about Jazakallah khair. We are not talking about what we should do during the salah if we are listening to somebody. What we should do is obviously trying to concentrate on the meanings. There's no doubt about it. But in real life, what happens is that you start noticing mistakes. That's why the less mistakes the imam does, the better, so that you can concentrate on the meaning now. Right? But the reality is that it's very rare. So I always tell people, if you have an imam with a nice voice and a good tajweed, you are blessed, because this is a person that you're going to be praying behind like all the time, right? If not, then you're going to be punished. You're going to be punished every day, right? It's like a test. So to be able to concentrate on the meaning, if you can do that, that's great. That's what, like, I don't know if I told you this story about this brother who used to be very, very good. He used to lead Taraweeh and not make any mistakes. And he used to lead the Qiyam. And in between the Taraweeh and the Qiyam, he had another khatma going on in between the Taraweeh and the Qiyam. So they used to finish the Quran 3 times during Ramadan. One in Taraweeh, one in the Qiyam, and one in between the Taraweeh and the Qiyam. So I told him one day there was a guest, and he was leading the Salah. So after the Salah, I told the brother, did you notice? I just wanted to take his opinion. Did you notice how he read this word or that word? He said, when I'm praying, I don't notice anything. He said that, like, I just don't notice. I'm just concentrated on the meaning. I said, wow. It's very hard to do. Like, I couldn't believe it, but this is how he is. He doesn't concentrate on the mistakes. He just doesn't notice them. Or I don't know how he does it. But it is something. Yes, brother.
I was just going to say what you were saying. Sometimes if you're like praying behind an imam who's like making some mistakes, even like in Tajweed or something like that, at least to me it is distracting. It's very, very distracting. I mean, it's just like you lose the focus all of a sudden.
That's true. That's true. I mean, you have to understand, the more Tajweed, the more you know of the Tajweed, the more distracted you will get when people make mistakes. And the reality is that most people will make mistakes if they are leading. Even if they make less, if they are praying by themselves, if they are leading, they will make more mistakes. Most people will make those mistakes. So you have to convince yourself, I mean, to minimize this the issue, you have to convince yourself that everyone will make mistakes there. If they are leading, they will make mistakes. So you just have to like be patient, and hopefully it will reduce that pain and suffering that you're going through. Let's start with the feedback in general about the Tajweed since we started. We started back in November or October last year, I believe.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Anything in your mind? Is it too fast? Is it too slow?
It's good.
Sometimes people complain about not having enough time to recite during the session.
Maybe this is a major concern.
It is a major concern.
You spend most of the time explaining the rules,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't have enough time to practice it.
Yeah. How about practicing at home? Like did you notice? Like I notice all the time. I notice all the time that when we start a Tajweed course, a fresh Tajweed course, people are motivated at the beginning. They would do the homework, they would go and recite. But as the weeks go by, we'll start, not doing as much homework, right? You notice this, right? It is with everything, even in Ramadan. Yes. Well,
Yeah, I think the break was too long.
Yeah, definitely.
It affected.
Yeah, the last break was definitely too long. As I mentioned before, I prefer not to take any breaks because anytime we take a break, this is what happens. Like we forget about the tajweed, we don't practice as much, and we forget about the rules that we took. So it does affect us. Initially, we used to take the tajweed right after Ramadan and finish it before Ramadan, before the next Ramadan, right? And yeah, in one shot. And we didn't used to take a break unless there's a holiday or the place is not available. And one of the reasons we took it in midweek is because it's away from the weekends where they want free time and they may be going somewhere in the weekend, may have visitors, there may be an event, there may be like a long weekend. So that's the reason, is to avoid it. We did our best to avoid taking a break. Anything else about in general about the tajweed?
I think it was good giving the tools, so we can practice on our own.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, the tools today are more available than ever before. Right, the recordings are higher quality. You have apps on phones and on tablets. You have like more resources than ever before, right? So you have, the tools are right there. You have videos, you can even listen or watch other videos of Tajweed and learn more and stuff like that. You also notice that the number of people attending also drops as we go, right? Especially when we have something to memorize. We have noticed in the past when we have a Tajweed halaqa or course, anytime we ask people to memorize, then they start not showing up. Right? That's why in this particular test, we gave the option not to memorize the surah, right? For whatever reason. I mean, whether the person is not motivated or his memory may be weak or busy or whatever. So we gave the option not to memorize the surah or the half of the surah. Was there anything else about feedbacks? What about improvements? Like, did you feel that you improved on the issues that you had or that I mentioned to you? For those of you who had issues? You did?
At least for myself, I'm trying to focus more on the gym.
The gym, or the gym. Yeah. Yeah, here you go, yeah.
It's more horrible, I would say gym.
Yeah. Mashallah.
It's much better.
Mashallah, mashallah. So you find that you improved on that? All right, or at least you are aware of of the letter. All right, anybody else? Yes, brother.
I think I like the small things that you would mention.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are I find them important. Like not just the core kind of Tajweed stuff, but the small things.
Mm-hmm.
This qira'at said this and that qira'at said that, and this is one way of waqaf, and the other way of waqaf, and the basmala. I think this is important.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jazakallah khair. What about like if you? I remember this brother who came for Hajj with us, and he read like different books of Hajj, and he started to tell me that I read so much that now I'm confused, right? Especially when there is like difference of opinions and stuff. He said, I read so much that now I'm confused. But when you look at it, you find that Hajj is very easy, right? But if you start going into the details and what are the difference of opinions and if this hadith is weak or strong, let's say going around the Kaaba doing the tawaf, the only authentic dhikr that has been narrated from the Prophet ﷺ is between Al-Rukn al-Yamani and Al-Hajar al-Aswad, where you say, Allahumma atina fi dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhab an-nar. The rest is open. It's open season. You can say whatever you want. So people think that there is prescribed dua in every corner basically, and they will go to that extent, try to memorize the exact dhikr that has to be said from here to there, from there to the other corner. But in reality, it's very simple. So there are simple things, but there are, of course, if you read more details and more opinions, then you may get confused about what to do. Similarly, in the Tajweed, especially for somebody who is a beginner, if you start reading the whole thing, you try to learn it too fast, then a person may get confused. And it may not necessarily help or translate into a good recitation, right? Most of the time it doesn't, because this is not something that you learn by reading a book. It's not like you read it and then you know how to say it. Any other comment or? Yes. Yes.
Do you think you can make the course shorter in time?
Well, to make it shorter, we can try to avoid taking breaks. That's what will make it shorter. But to try to shorten actually I extended it. The reason I extended the levels, I extended the levels is because of the complaint, which was very, very popular, is that we don't have enough time to recite or to practice, especially during the level. Especially at the beginning, the first 2 or 3 levels. If you don't right away get the rules in the 2 or 3 levels, then there's no point like going into advanced stuff. Yeah. But if somebody is not familiar with or is not mastering the noon, sakin and tanween, there's no point talking about something that's way advanced than that. Right? We have to master the basics first. That's why we kind of try to extend the levels a little bit to about 10 weeks for each level, to give more time to, and also it will give the person more time to practice at home, right? I mean, most of the practice is done at home, really, because here, how much are you going to read? You're going to read like 2, 3 lines, 4 lines, and that's it. There's no time, really.
It's important that a sheikh listen to your recitation.
It is, definitely, but
you might be doing a mistake and you don't know about it, right?
Definitely. I mean, I'm not saying that we shouldn't. Yeah. But because of the time, we are only able to do so much during the class. But it has to be combined with reading quite a bit at home.
Yes.
Right? If a person is not reading at home and he's relying on the reading during the class, then it's not going to work. They have to. I mean, they have to go hand in hand. I mean, it's very obvious now that I'm sure you agree with me that they have to go hand in hand, right? Any other comment?
Have you ever tried or thought about giving one time the rules and one time just only recitation?
What do you mean one time?
One class on the rules, and the other class is just the whole time dedicated for people reciting?
I think we tried it. I don't really like the idea because talking about the theory, we may talk about it for an hour, and everyone would have understood. But then, if we don't put it into practice right away, then it just doesn't work, right?
Especially, I agree, for the beginners.
Yeah.
First time ever somebody's doing.
Especially for the beginners, yes. Especially for the beginners. So we are trying to simplify it, and one way of simplifying it is to give as little as possible, or just enough to understand the rule, and then put it into practice right away. And I think we tried different things in the past. And basically, of course, the feedback of people helped in making it hopefully better and more beneficial, right? And that's why I'm hearing from you to see what we can improve in terms of making it better. Any other? Nothing? Did you think about Ramadan when I asked you last time? What did we learn from Ramadan in terms of Quran and in terms of, or past Ramadans, in terms of Tajweed? Did something come to your mind during this week or during the last 2 weeks? Nothing?
My brother that I know used to attend the halaqah here and told me that I used to finish it 3-4 times.
During Ramadan?
Yeah, and after he came to the class, he barely finished it 1 time.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Yeah, it's true. I don't know if I told you the story of this older person who used to lead the Tarawih in our masjid back home. And we used to see him during the week. He used to recite and walk in the masjid. He used to walk and recite, like he's reviewing. We used to see him every day. Every day he's there between Maghrib and Isha. So when people started to, we call it the sahwa basically, when people started to learn about Islam and they knew what Tajweed is and stuff, we started having halaqat. And I remember I started teaching Tajweed when I was in high school. So I had my halaqah, which was the Hafs halaqah, and another brother had Warsh halaqah. So we had 2 halaqah in the masjid, which is the benefit of having people aware of the qira'at, right? We have two different halaqat in the masjid. So this older person came and started sitting with us. And it is very, I don't know if you realize the context here. Older people, usually they don't come and sit with younger people.
Yeah.
Especially when they are telling them to fix your old habits, right? These are considered old habits. The way he memorized was without tajweed, right? And people, they didn't used to pray behind him, especially the young ones. The younger generation, they didn't used to pray behind him Tarawih. They used to go to another masjid where the tajweed was better. And I was one of them. I used to go to another masjid where the tajweed was better. So he started sitting with us and he started trying to implement these tajweed. But then after a few weeks or a few months, he said, I think I'm going to stop this tajweed business. He said, now I'm not able to finish my Quran in a week. I can't finish it anymore. It's not working for me. And I thought that he would be excused because, I mean, he's probably too old to learn new tricks. He just can't fix it now, right? So I felt bad and I felt sorry for him, but I was very impressed by the effort that he did. Right? He did sit with us and he did try to correct, and you can tell during the salat when he's leading, you can tell that he's trying to fix things during the salat, but it was just too challenging for him. Yeah.
I kind of disagree with you.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Because there is a hadith of the Prophet, I don't remember exactly the wording, but whoever trying to study Quran. Sorry? Yeah, something, one word like that. It's not exactly this one.
يتتعتع فيه يتتعتع.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So that means that for a knowledge man or woman, so it's not impossible, right? It's not too late.
Well, we cannot say if it's yeah.
That's true.
Well, I had, as I mentioned before, I'm sure I mentioned this, I had a student who was with me for 2-3 years. He was 82. He was 82. His reading was good. But if somebody, let's say, he doesn't know anything about Tajweed, and he's in his 80s, and he's trying to learn, can we say, is it too late for him or not too late? We can say that it's not too late. It's never too late. But does that mean that he's going to learn? It doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to learn. Whether it's too late or not, that's not the point. The point is that, is he going to learn? Is he going to be able to learn or not? Maybe. Yeah. Some people, I know some people who at 80 memorize the whole Quran. Right? People talk about a weak memory. There are people in their 80s, they memorize the whole Quran. They started late. There are people who didn't know how to read and write, and they started and they learned. But it doesn't apply to everyone. Even if you make the effort, you may not achieve. Yeah, you may not get to your goal, but you can keep on trying. It's good to keep on trying because it's never too late. But it's not always that you're going to reach the goal. Right? It's not for everyone. That's why, a younger person will have better chances to succeed. Yeah.
I was going to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding for the hadith is the recitation, right? Is about reciting the Quran, not memorizing the Quran.
الذي يقرأ القرآن.
Yeah.
الذي يقرأ القرآن.
Reading.
He struggles with it.
But if you're going to go and memorize Quran, you should memorize it the way it was recited by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He should actually know some tajweed while actually he's memorizing. Anybody, I'm not talking about older people or younger people.
Yeah, I mean, in this hadith, it's a famous hadith, of course, where a person struggles when he's reciting. And of course, he's trying to learn, he's trying to read it and he's struggling. He will have 2 rewards, right? But of course, people tend to think that this person who has 2 rewards, he will have more reward than the person who is like, in this hadith, who is fluent, who is professional, right? And it is actually wrong. The person who knows how to read it, if you want to say like a pro, he will have more reward. He will definitely have more reward, right? He will be like with the angels, like in this hadith where it says. But of course, having double reward, it shows that the person is making the effort, and that's why he gets double the reward. If a person doesn't want to make the effort, then he may get just 1 reward for reading, and he's not making an effort, right? Or he will try to avoid reading because he said, I'm not good at it, right? And of course, this is an encouragement or motivation for us to recite more. All right, we'll pray Salat al-Isha, inshallah. جزاكم الله خير. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.